or something else. There might be, when there's, role plays happening, let's be polite about that, then it differs, right? But generally, there's nobody, we are who we are. There's no sense of me looking for masculine behavior in my partner. I mean, the person I fall in love with, I must recognize that they are women. And my sexuality, orientation, identity is based on that I love a woman. And so therefore, I don't expect anything else aside from that. And Harshita also doesn't expect that much from me. But the gender expression can be fluid. So for example, if I'm meeting board of directors, then if I can be much more masculine or aggressive in my behavior, that doesn't make me butch or tomboyish, right? Yeah.
The reason I was asking this also was like the fact that like usually when we talk that like it's a gay couple or a lesbian couple, immediately people start wanting to bracket and say who is a husband in the relationship, who is a wife in the relationship, And even when we talk to parents, in some of the questions which really come up because they have this only pattern as the heteronormative pattern, and people really think that all gay relationship or lesbian relationship has to follow into the same heteronormative patterns,
Yeah. I think all roads lead to Ashok and the Humsafar Trust. But with their help, I've actually did some counseling the last 3-4 years with lesbian, bisexual women and trans persons. Now, the common issue when it comes to relationship is that because I am in love with a woman, I must dress and behave like a man. And that is because the mainstream, I feel, what's the word, brainwashes us when we're growing up. Right. As children, we are brainwashed that this is man, this is woman, and therefore you have to be in relationship with them. And when we fall in love with the same sex, we actually fall in love with the person. But to actualize that love, we feel that we have to behave one or the other. So I've seen many relationship issues coming out of that, where they, automatically behave in a particular way. So once we start and talk and start the communication, that sort of helps them understand each other better. But because our heterosexual role models are our parents, our uncles and aunts, we tend to follow that. But in India, we really now need more role models out there.
In fact, I remember even Shobna talking something similar in another interview where like a lot of times because we want to kind of fall into the heteronormative pattern, a lot of men who just maybe feeling like women want to become a transgender person, or a lot of women who possibly feel like a man I want to actually go in for a surgery and actually become so is it necessary or not? Can we just be who we are and not really change our gender? That is something which I know that Shobna has been talking about, and unfortunately we don't have a trans person on our panel today, which is a bit of a thing which I wish we had, and next time we make sure that we have a transgender person on the panel. Sorry? No, we're going to talk about that. In fact, this is something which we have been talking about, and I wish there was a transgender person who can talk about it, or we can do in the next session. I want to actually ask Sonal about basically when you are young and growing up and coming out. I know that you face a lot of challenges in your workplace when you're working in your first office job, So how difficult is it I know that maybe you were not out at that point of time, but people could perceive that you desired women at that point of time. So how challenging it was as a young person at that point of time?
I think most of us who identify as queer right now, we've gone through different situations while growing up. When I was in school, I think my challenge was not being able to speak about it at all because there was absolutely no forum to talk about it. I'm bisexual, which means that I'm attracted to both men and women, and I realized around puberty that I'm attracted. And I have a twin sister whom I'm very, very close to. And we would, my school was a co-ed school, but it was really funny because although we were a co-ed school, the girls were supposed to sit separately and the boys were supposed to sit separately, and we were not supposed to interact with each other. So, it's like they somehow propagated a feeling that it was not okay to interact with even the opposite sex. So, at puberty, I was attracted to both men and women. But I remember, even to start talking to my sister about a guy was difficult. And we started very slowly with, slowly, bringing the topic in. And I remember initially when these discussions were happening, it was just the two of us, but even then there was a hesitation to even talk to my own sister about it. And I tried to introduce to try to talk about this girl whom I also liked. And though she was okay discussing the guy, when it came to the girl, one day she just turned around and told me that, Sonal, why do you keep talking about this girl? Are you lesbian? And she started laughing. And that's when I realized that, this is not, talking about a girl is not okay. And it'll make a joke out of me. So I never spoke about the girls at all. For the rest of my life, I never spoke about the girls. And that was a bit difficult because you really like someone and you want to talk about them and you can't do it. So that was, it's a small thing, but it's a big thing, when you're young. And when I reached my college also, what happened was because I was with a girl constantly, there were some people who had a problem with it, wanted to now prove her straightness, so she broke off with me and she started dating another guy. Like any women, even heterosexual women for that fact, you're made to believe that, it was your fault, but it's not your fault. Yeah, so.
In fact, thank you for sharing your personal story and